dear friends and members of FANO, on behalf of the organizing and committee and training committee of FANO, I invite you all for this uh, webinar arranged by FANO along with in association with COVID Action Collab in regards to life skills for the paramedical staff, in which soft skills about with the patients, how to react with the patients, and how to action their common problems. And we, along with that, we'll tell some points regarding how to behave with colleagues, the seniors and juniors, like that. So, the team from COVID Action Collab under the leadership of Angela is Bhumika and Rio, they're all joining, and they will tell us it's an interactive program. It will be told both in English and Kannada, and whatever queries are there, you can ask them. They will answer, and at the end of the session, there will be a question and answer session. In that also, you can raise any of the points of your interest. Thank you, and over to Bhumika for further continuation.
Thank you, Dr. Devakar. Thank you and welcome everyone for our today's session, which we are hosting with FANA. I would like to ask Angela to give us, introduce the COVID Action Collab and partnership with FANA.
Welcome everyone to the first ever training from the COVID Action Collab to a healthcare professional association. FANA is a very valued member of the COVID Action Collab, which is a people-centric, partnership-led and multidisciplinary collab, which is really protecting population, the most vulnerable, to survive and thrive during humanitarian crisis like COVID. And what we have done so far is that we are present in all of India. We have more than 300 partners, 1.5 million services delivered. We've reached 3 million people already and raised resources, as you can see. When we say vulnerable populations, we are really talking about those who are not necessarily able, are supported by systems very easily, but require some help to be able to help themselves. So that is generally about poor people, those living in slums, or those living in far off places and don't have the assets and resources that we have. And one of the biggest reasons for not just COVID, but even primary health and poor health is the situations in which some of us are born into and situations that some of our workplaces put us in, and various other situations like gender, age, etc. So moving on, Nitya, next slide, please. Or Priya. And what we want to do, one of the populations that we want to serve very strongly are the healthcare providers. And this is where FANA as a very strong association comes in. Through the association, we want to reach out to frontline workers who don't necessarily have frontline workers who are every day exposing themselves and working in the line of danger to make other people's lives better and healthier. And we want to be able to help you. Sometimes there are certain trainings that are required, sometimes there are some facilitations that are required to just help you to do your own work better. And some of the curriculum has been developed with a lot of consultation with FANA to see what are these skills and that you might need to be able to do your work better, but also to protect yourself from COVID and any other vulnerabilities that you might face. Next slide, please. So therefore, we want healthcare providers at all levels, but particularly frontline. And I believe a lot of you are frontline workers from hospitals, seeing a lot of patients, helping patients' families as well, to see that how are you better capable capable of coping with your lives. You have reduced burnout, reduced absenteeism. You are better prepared with infection prevention, COVID-19 protocols, etc. And we want to hear from your hospitals back later after these trainings that they were really happy that you went through this training and they're able to see a change in you. You are able to see a change in yourself. You feel better equipped. You feel more empowered. You feel safer. You feel happier. And we want the hospitals to tell us, yes, those members who attended some of your trainings are definitely able to use those resources and tools and skills to be able to do their jobs better, but also feeling better as human beings. Next place, please. So who are we? Obviously, we are strangers to you. So a little bit of an introduction on who we are. We're a 16-year-old global public health impact organization. We are headquartered here in Bangalore, and we work across India and in 25 countries at all the various levels on matters of health systems and community system strengthening towards achieving health equity. Next slide, please. And this is the team that will be helping you in reaching your career and as well as personal well-being goals. We have Bhumika, Priyamvada, and Nitya, all of them from very strong training expertise, not just here, but in other settings as well as public health expertise. So you're in very good hands because we have received very good feedback, but also independent evaluation of trainings and capacity building interventions that they have led and managed. So over to you, Bhumika. Thank you. I would also like to appreciate FANA for taking this role and having value-added programs to take care of all of you who are at the front line and working very hard to keep people safe and sound. Thank you.
So FANA is a private hospitals and nursing homes association, which is got about 400 hospitals in Bangalore mainly, and some hospitals in Karnataka, like other districts, they also got attached to that FANA association. Over to you, Bhumika.
Thank you, Angela. Thank you, Dr. Devakar. I mirror Angela's sentiment and welcome everyone. And more importantly, thanks, a very big thank you to FANA for helping us arrange this meeting and supporting us with the material. I would like to add that we felt that with life skills, it is important everywhere in every sector, but particularly it is important in healthcare, where we are always facing, we are a public facing, service facing sector. And this is a place where both the people on the service side as well as the people who provide the service can feel alone, can feel vulnerable, and are sometimes in very difficult positions. And you'll be working in a high stress environment as well, with your colleagues, and in a healthcare team, communication as well as life skills is really important to deliver that quality of care and service. So therefore, we hope that with the beginning of this session and when we are moving towards all our sessions, that in the end you will feel more empowered and more in control to handle such situations with ease. So thank you all, and I pass on this to Nitya, my colleague, who will introduce herself and begin the facilitation. Thank you.
ಥ್ಯಾಂಕ್ ಯು ಭೂಮಿಕಾ. ಎಲ್ಲರಿಗೂ ನಮಸ್ಕಾರ. ನನ್ನ ಹೆಸರು ನಿತ್ಯ. ಈಗಷ್ಟೇ ಆಂಜೆಲಾ ಪರಿಚಯ ಮಾಡಿಕೊಟ್ಟ ಹಾಗೆ ನಾವು ಸ್ವಸ್ತಿ ಹೆಲ್ತ್ ಕ್ಯಾಟಲಿಸ್ಟ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಪಬ್ಲಿಕ್ ಹೆಲ್ತ್ ಸೆಕ್ಟರ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಕೆಲಸ ಮಾಡ್ತಿದೀವಿ. ಸೊ ಕಮ್ಯುನಿಕೇಶನ್ ಮತ್ತೆ ನೆಗೋಸಿಯೇಷನ್ ಮತ್ತೆ ನಾವು ಮಾತಾಡೋದು ನಮ್ಮ ಸಂವಹನ ಕ್ರಿಯೆ, ನಾವು ಒಟ್ಟಿಗೆ ಒಬ್ಬರು ಯಾವಾಗ್ಲೂ ಮಾತಾಡ್ತಿರ್ತೀವಿ, ಅದನ್ನ ನಾವು ಹೇಗೆ ಉತ್ತಮಗೊಳಿಸ್ಕೋಬಹುದು, ಯಾವ ರೀತಿ ನಾವು ಇನ್ನೊಬ್ಬರ ಹತ್ರ ಮಾತಾಡಿದಾಗ ನೆಗೋಸಿಯೇಷನ್ ಏನ್ ಹೇಳ್ತೀವಿ, ಒಪ್ಪಂದ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಳ್ಳೋದಾಗ್ಲಿ, ಒಬ್ಬರ ಇನ್ನೊಬ್ಬರಿಗೆ ತುಂಬಾ ಒಳ್ಳೆ ರೀತಿಯಲ್ಲಿ ಮುಟ್ಸೋದು ಹೇಗೆ ಅನ್ನೋದ್ರ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಈ 2 ಗಂಟೆಗಳ ಕಾಲ ನಾವು ಒಬ್ಬರ ಜೊತೆ ಪ್ರಿಯಾ.
Thank you, Nitya. I'll just request you to share your screen. And thanks a lot, all of you, once again for joining this session with us. Before we get started, because we wanted to keep the session as interactive as possible, I would just, request you all to please participate. Do stop us. Do if you have any questions, thoughts that you would like to share, during the session. Also, there is we have a chat box. You all can see in towards the right side of your screen. There is a chat box. If you are using your computer, if you are using your phones, it must be towards the bottom of your screen, I believe. So please use that chat box to share your thoughts, comments, questions, and there is a setting where the host has to unmute you. So if you just raise your hand or if you use the chat box, we will just unmute you so that you can speak and share your thoughts. And yeah, and just one more thing that we want to ensure you that this is a we actually intend to make this platform as a safe space where the participants who have joined us today, they can talk freely, they can share their thoughts openly, and we would request, and we also would be following the principle of confidentiality. Whatever we discuss here, we would like to keep it confidential, and we would also expect the same from you. And yeah, please do share whatever is coming to your mind. Please don't hesitate. And there are a few settings related stuff that technology has ensured us to follow. We will keep doing that, but please do share and participate as much as possible. And before we get started, we actually thought that we will do a quick exercise where we can just understand how you are feeling right now, because we are going to spend almost 1.5 hours with each other. So it will be good to just understand a little more about each other. So I would just request Bhumika, you need to if you can just share the links. And also, meanwhile, if all the participants can just introduce themselves, just put your name and what you do in the chat box, and we will be sharing a link with you to, and that will guide you to respond to some of the questions that we have for you.
I have shared a link in the chat box. If everybody can
Nitya,
open up that link.
you can keep the slide there, and are you able to see the link? Bhumika, this link is not opening. You have to. Can you please check? Or what you can do is, all the participants, you can just copy paste this link to another window of yours, and you'll be able to see a question there. Please let me know if you are able to do that. Can any one of you please, yeah. So what Nitya, you can see Nitya's screen. Are you able to see something like that on your screen as well? You can say yes or no in the comment box.
Yes,
Okay,
ma'am.
okay.
You can see.
That is great. So we will wait till all the participants, complete this response. Bhumika, please let us know once you get all the
Yeah.
responses. We'll just wait for a minute. Meanwhile, I'll request the participants to introduce themselves in the chat box. Bhumika, are you able to get the responses?
Yeah, let's give it 30 more seconds.
Okay.
There are around 15, 17 participants.
Okay.
Was everybody able to do that? Was everybody able to?
Yeah, we can share the responses now.
Okay. 1 second.
Raise hands sometimes.
Can everybody see the slide?
No, I think Nitya will have to stop sharing and then you will be able to share. Bhumika, you can share now, I think.
Got it. So we have only 3 responses: happy, excited, and good.
Can you share it on the screen if that is possible?
Yeah, 1 second.
Okay, so basically the purpose of doing this exercise, why we wanted to do it in first place, because we know all of you are very busy and it is very important, because today's topic is actually communication and we know that communication actually plays a very critical, role in all of our lives. And we have different channels, different, ways that we adopt to, communicate ourselves. So I think whoever has provided these responses, really thank you first of all. And it is very good that we are able to start at a very happy, excited and positive note. So thank you for that. And as Angela and Bhumika already shared along with Nitya, that uh, the objective of this particular session is basically to just reflect on how communication and effective negotiation can play a critical role in both personal and professional spheres of our lives. Thank you, Bhumika. You can stop sharing the screen and I would request Nitya to share the deck, please, the slide. So before we get started, I wanted to ask one question, and anybody can volunteer who would like to, respond. And it will be good if you are comfortable sharing that. So basically, before we get started, if you can just share one, experience that you can recall, or maybe anything that you are comfortable sharing, any incident where you felt not very easy, or you found it very difficult while you are communicating to anyone. It can be a patient, it can be your peers, it can be your managers, it can also be with anyone at your home or with your friends. Anything, any incident that you are able to recall, anything that you remember right now and you are comfortable sharing. I would just request anybody, if you are comfortable sharing, please put it in the chat box or raise your hand. We will just unmute you and please do share your experience. Anything that you can remember where you have faced difficulty in communicating yourself.
Yeah, there are a couple of people who have raised their hands, so I'm just going to ask them to go
Yes.
ahead. I think Kavita's Galaxy, Naveen Raj. Would you like to unmute and talk?
You can start with Kavita.
Kavita, would you like to say something? You'll have to unmute and talk. Naveen, maybe we can come back to Kavita. Naveen, your hand is raised. Did you want to ask any question?
Hello. Can you hear me?
Yes. Yes,
Yes.
Naveen, go ahead.
Actually, communication feel very difficulty when it comes to patients. When they are very nervous. Is it mute?
We are able to hear
I
you,
can hear
Naveen.
you.
When patient will be very getting to hospital and they were in a rush to get a treatment and they were not ready to listen to us. So that would be a very difficult way to communicate with the patient.
Okay.
Yeah, we can imagine. Anybody else, and thank you, Naveen, for sharing that. Anybody else who would like to share anything where you have felt a difficulty while you are communicating? One is with the patients, their families. It's not always easy. We completely understand. Anybody else who would like to share? Kavita, would you like to share? You had raised your hand. Okay, yeah. So maybe if you want to share later also, that's fine. So, as Naveen has also pointed out that the people who are actually working with people, it is always not so easy to express yourself, or just to curb your emotions. Sometimes it is not very easy to do that, and especially when when we are working in a setting where a lot of things have to be handled in a urgent basis, it becomes even more difficult. Even if it is not, even if we don't talk about the work life, but also when we are talking within peers or within teams or even at home, it is not always easy. I would actually like to share one example where we were in a session and somebody shared that especially the women, it becomes even more difficult. I'll just quote this example where somebody shared that when it comes to taking leaves, although it is somewhere our right, and we are entitled to that, but especially in the times of crisis, and most of the times even without crisis, when we try to take leave even for something personal, or anything else, or health related, or anything that we want to prioritize, it is not always easy to reach out to your peers or your managers and speak about it and say that okay, fine, I want to do that. uh, a very simple example that comes very often is that a lot of actually a very good, very high percentage of healthcare workforce is actually women. So when we talk to women health professionals especially, there is a lot another level of challenge where they say that we have to we have to deprioritize our health at times, because it is not always easy to communicate or to talk about our own personal health, because we are somewhere expected to prioritize our duties more than our health, which is and these kind of scenarios are actually very difficult to handle for a lot of healthcare professionals that we have spoken to. um, so in this session particularly, we will be trying to see how you have been managing such kind of situations, what has worked well for you. And there are also some of the some of the tips, or some of the the processes, or maybe some of the good practices that we have to share with you, and probably that can help you in handling such kind of situations a little better. We are not saying that with this session everything you will be able to handle perfectly smoothly just by using effective communication and negotiation, but definitely this will help us to reflect and see what can probably help in addressing such kind of difficult situations. And we can use these life skills in making our lives, both professional and personal, a little better. So far, if you have any questions, comments, any thoughts that you have in mind, the thoughts that, or any questions that are coming to your mind, please do share.
We have a hands raised from Bhargavi.
Yes, Bhargavi.
Hello, madam. My name is Bhargavi. Hello.
Yes, I can hear you.
My name is Bhargavi. I'm from Indian Hospital, Pathanamnagar.
Yes, please. Bhargavi, you are on mute.
Hello.
Yes, can hear you now.
So, with regards to communication, so we are facing with freshers like junior nurses, trained nurses. When the doctors comes for the rounds or anything, they suddenly become blank, unable to answer the questions, and they feel very shy. How to go about it?
Thanks, Bhargavi, and thanks for sharing this with us. And this is something that happens not just in the hospital settings, but also in a lot of other workplaces where where people actually feel a little lack of confidence, or maybe sometimes because of power dynamics, a lot of people are not able to express themselves, share their concerns or thoughts. So thank you for raising that, and let's try and see how in these kind of critical situations we can what can be the ways which actually work. So before answering to your question, I think I would like to actually ask certain questions. We have a few questions that we would like to share with the larger group, and we will definitely get back to all the questions that you are sharing. And rather than me or anybody from my colleagues responding to these questions directly, let's see how we can collectively discuss and reach to a conclusion how these kind of complex issues can be dealt at the workplace. So, is anybody speaking? Okay. Can Bhumika, can you please share the questions? We have two questions, the Mentimeter. And I would request everyone to please take these polls which are coming to the chat box. You can just copy paste the link and respond to these questions.
There is a link in the chat box. If everybody can click on the link, there will be one poll there, and you just have to select one choice from that poll. Is everybody able to see my chat? the chat box?
So in the chat box, there is a link which Bhumika has shared, and if you open the link, you can actually see what Nitya is presenting right now. There is a question with 3 options. If you can just take this poll, just respond to this question and then submit your response. We'll be able to see, and we won't be able to see who has responded what, but we will get a fair picture of what is the what we will be able to assess how what is your response right now related to this particular question. The question is basically, do you consider your communication to be effective? Bhumika, let us know if you get a few responses.
Yes, I'm getting my responses. And Nitya, this is the link to the live results. Since you're sharing, just click on this link and we can see it on the screen. Okay.
Okay, so I am able to see that we have got 7 responses so far.
Yeah.
Nitya, you can try and present. You can just copy paste the link that Bhumika has shared.
Yeah.
The second link. So we have got 7 responses, and 3 of us feel that we are able to communicate effectively always, and 4 of the respondents have said that it is not always easy. Sometimes they are able to effectively communicate. So and that is something which we were also anticipating, because and it's great that 3 of us also feel that we are able to effectively communicate. So just Nitya, if you're able to do it, it's fine. Otherwise, we can go ahead. Yeah, so these are the responses that we have got so far. Thanks, Nitya. We can go back to the slide. And it's good that we have made a progress. We have 7 people who have responded to the question. I would request that all of us, please, if we can take the polls, it will really help us to do the session more effectively. So if you can go ahead, Nitya, with please, next slide. Next slide, please. Yeah, so basically when we say communication, it is basically a process where one person is a sender and the other person is a receiver. And in this process, the sender is basically transferring the information or emotions or feelings or sentiments, and the other person who is at the receiving end is basically getting that information, receiving that information. And medium can be different. There can be different mediums that we can use. So imagine if there is just a sender and there is no receiver who to take any information. That will not be called as communication. It cannot be a communication if there is no sender or if there is no receiver. There is always supposed to be a loop to have communication process in place. And if we ensure that if the sender is ensuring that the receiver is getting what is being transferred, the information that is being transferred, if that is being ensured, and the receiver is also acknowledging that the information that the sender was trying to pass on, if it is getting received, then it will be a two-way communication. And if there is if it is not being ensured that the receiver is getting the information, or if there is no acknowledgement, it will be a one-way communication. So you can also see that in this session as well, we are not trying to keep the communication one way, because that way we will not be able to see whether the information that we are trying to pass on, or the point that we are trying to discuss with you, whether it is being communicated or not. That is why we are also asking you questions. We are also using different medium to have this communication in a communication channel in place. And we know that without this, process being followed, we will not be able to, have any work done. Actually, in the kind of settings we are in, we will not be able to do anything without having such kind of communication channels in place. Can you please move, Nitya? Next slide, please. Yeah, so when we say information, it is not just the information as such in which is very important or verbal or through words. It is also about feelings, thoughts. What do we want? What do we need? That kind of information also gets communicated with each other in the process of communication. And basically we do it to reach our goals, to handle our day to day, lead our day to day lives effectively at work, at family, and in the society in general. And there are different channels that we follow. So this is all theoretical, but what we actually want to say is that communication process generally we feel that it is very simple, and there are it is basically sometimes when we are practicing it, we don't necessarily think about this complicated process, but actually it is not that simple. It is not that easy. A lot of back end work that happens inside our mind and also inside inside our brains to make all these happen. I also have another question which Bhumika, you can put. Um but so far, if you have any questions, please do put it in the chat box. Or if you want to talk, you can just raise your hand. And Bhumika, you can let me know if there are any hands raised because I am not able to see.
Yeah, I'm on it. There are no hands raised.
Okay. Do you want to put the Menti link for the next question, Bhumika?
Sure. It is the same link. I'm just going to add it again.
This is not the question, I believe. Okay, this is the one, and there is another one then after that.
Yes, that's right. We have to click next.
So one is that we are using these polls, but I would also like to, it will be great if any one of you want to share how, because I know that there were certain questions where you mentioned that sometimes the new joinees who are there, they are not very confident. They actually they find it very difficult to interact with the doctors, maybe senior doctors. So would you like to share how you are actually managing such situations? What kind of support, or what kind of methods work in addressing such situations? If you would like to share that, that would be great. Or if anybody else who has been already doing something on it, please do share. Bhumika, you might have to um unmute people so that they can talk.
No, they can unmute themselves.
Okay.
Yeah, they can. They're allowed to talk.
So Bhargavi, would you like to share what are the things that you have been doing to address such
Jyots.
kind of situation?
Also, Jyotsna has raised her hand. Jyotsna Hospital. You can go ahead and unmute
Yes.
and speak.
Hello.
Hi.
Yes, Bhargavi.
Yes,
Bhargav. See, basically, we have an induction program where we'll tell about how to communicate with the doctors. And apart from the induction, we have a regular training. It includes the communication, and we'll do a demonstration like acting like a doctor or some other department manager so that they can open up and speak. It will be make them to feel comfortable and talk to them properly.
Great. I think that's a very good way because when we do role plays and when we do such kind of demos, it actually gives a lot of confidence. And and Bhumika, if you have responses already, we can show, and we can also discuss a little more on how these kind of demos actually, are helpful, and what are the other components that we can probably use to make the communication more effective. Would you like to share the responses that you have received? Bhumika, Nitya?
I'm going to share my screen. Sorry, I was in mute.
Don't bother, Bhumika, share the link. I'll just put it up. I'm already
Okay.
sharing it.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, that's right. It's on the screen.
Yeah, so as we can see that, all the participants, all the 5 participants who have responded, they do acknowledge that words, expressions, body language, all these things are important. And I'm sure, Bhargavi, when you are doing these kind of role play activities, as you mentioned, these all, these components are basically, being included. And that actually helps in communicating and also gaining a little more confidence in our communication in day-to-day lives. And just wanted to share some data with you basically. Bhumika, if you can, sorry, Nitya, if you can go to the next slide, please.
Hi, madam. Again, Bhargavi.
Yes, Bhargavi.
Yeah. Apart from that, is there any another other type of things where we can adopt in our training program? I need an ideas.
Yes. Yes, so basically, as you mentioned that, sometimes what happens is that these kind of, forums actually help a lot. And as you mentioned, as we are looking at the screen, if we want to make our communication effective, it is actually both the ends which where the work needs to be done. One is that we need to build the capacities of the nurses. We need to ensure that they are actually getting this kind of confidence. They have their skills on communication being enhanced. But also we need to be working with the people across the systems, also with leaders, with their managers, to also ensure that there is also a little bit of sensitization, also awareness on how they should also be working on their communication skills, or what kind of words, or what kind of tone, or what kind of body language has to be ensured from both ends. Because there is one side where you are already working on, but these are also certain things which actually can help, to have these, barriers being addressed more effectively. So that is one aspect. I'm not saying that this is the only solution. There are a lot of other things as well, because, sometimes even after having, this kind of awareness that you can reach out to your peers, or you can reach out to your managers, or you can speak to anyone, we know that there are a lot of, these kind of complaints or suggestion box, but people sometimes don't use it. So we need to have, that kind of, culture, or we can say an environment in place where people can actually talk freely. They can gain that confidence to openly share their concerns. So Bhargavi, I'll stop here. Do you have any further questions? Do you think it makes sense? Or if anybody from the participants, if you have any comments or suggestions that you think probably will work, do share, please.
Okay, mine is over. Then continue, madam. Thank you.
Thank you, Bhargavi. Satish, did you have anything to say?
Yeah, and Jyotsna also has raised her hand.
Satish and Jyotsna, yeah.
Yeah. Jyotsna, would you like to speak?
Jyotsna Hospital.
Jyotsna Hospital, sorry.
Hello,
Yes,
can everybody hear me?
Yes.
yes, yes. we
Thank
can.
you. This is Aparna. I am the Chief Nursing Superintendent here at Jyotsna Hospital. Am I audible?
Okay. Yes,
Yes.
Aparna.
Yes, okay. Well, I just heard Bhargavi saying like the new set of staff, like the new staff are very shy and they are not able to face the doctors and the answering or communication, whatever it is like. First thing is like, I think it is our responsibility when they reach us. Unfortunately, the system where they are being trained is not adequate. It's very inadequate. So we are supposed to boost them with a lot of confidence in means of training, and then a lot of communication classes, make them understand how they can improve their skill sets. And communication is also part of their skill sets, because any effective communication gives you the best result. Am I audible?
Yes,
Yes,
yes.
Yes. So we need to design, we have to tailor make, it has to be a tailor made training, and effective communication has to be part and parcel of it. For an instance, I can give you an example. Like what I do here is like every Wednesday there is an English communication class that I take, and we give them test, and this is how we do. So it's a culmination of everything together. Their nursing skills and the communication skills together will definitely improve them. It's like we have to keep boosting them. Probably we can have a buddy mentor kind of a system that we can follow and help every staff understand that they are capable of doing things, and sky is the limit. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Aparna. I think these are very important things. And as you also mentioned that this is communication is actually, is not something which will be of great use if we only, talk about, concepts of theory. It is something that has to be inculcated in the behaviors and practices. And that can only happen if it becomes a routine, as you also said, Aparna, that this is one thing that the communication capacity buildings and these kind of things are really helpful. Plus also these kind of forums where they can talk about their day-to-day challenges, where these kind of spaces are created where they actually feel free to share their concern, learn from how others are handling these kind of issues, and basically it becomes a part of their daily life, rather than just limited to one training or one sessions as such. So yeah, Jyotsna, sorry, Aparna, are you trying to say something?
Yes, only thing what I'm trying to say is like never put anyone down. Keep
Yes.
encouraging them, even if they're going to make mistake, even if their communication is poor. Okay, so please, that encouragement has totally have to come from the seniors with whom they deal every day.
Absolutely. We actually need to create role models and peers among themselves, champions among themselves. And I think this suggestion that you gave on buddy system is actually really helpful. It works a lot,
Yes,
very well
yes.
in these kind of spaces. So
Never
thank you,
look
Aparna.
down on anyone. I would rather say, like, never look down, because
Yes,
few of them have a lot of mother tongue influence, no matter how
yes,
much they try to communicate also.
yes.
So it is like, I would definitely say it is the seniors, the immediate team leaders, whoever is handling them, have to keep boosting their morale and keep helping them. Always
Yes.
help them to put one foot forward, that they will do better every day. That's it. Thank you.
Absolutely, absolutely. Thanks a lot, Aparna. And talking about how we can support each other, we actually will be getting into discussing more on empathy, and I think you have already set a very good context for that. So we will be talking a little more about empathy, that how in our communication, how the interpersonal relationships, the practices, the behaviors are actually influenced by empathy, how we empathize with each other. So that is something that is a very critical piece that we will be discussing. But before that, we will just again focusing on some of the things that we have to keep in mind while we are communicating. And this is for both for your work life and also in personal life. These are certain things which actually help a lot. And it is whatever is written here mostly is something that will be more useful for when you are talking to, or when you are interacting with your patients, and your users, basically the service users. But also when we are talking within our peers, or at our workplace, or at our home, it is very important to keep certain things in mind. We have to ensure that instead of just talking, we also listen. We also clarify what we are saying, and also clarify what the other person is trying to say. Keeping it two way actually is something that really helps when it comes to effective communication. Nitya and Bhumika, do you want to add
Yes.
to it?
Yes, I think given the nature of the sector, there are three things which we should always keep in mind while thinking about communication in any setting, be it with our colleagues or be it with patients. One is that the language should be as easy as possible and should have absolutely no medical jargon. It should be easy so that it can be understood and taken in by the person in front of us with the same ease that we are speaking it. Second is that we must ask questions. It is given that when somebody gives us some information or communication, that may not register with us at that time, which makes it important for us to ask leading questions after that communication to ensure that we are getting the message that was intended for us. And thirdly, let us be very, very mindful to put things across without coming across as we know too much. uh, we have to always think that as much as we know, the other person also might know as much, and I may not have that much information that I think I have more than that person. So we must always come across as we want to learn from the person in front of us. And a few basic pointers that needs to come in is that the communication has to be non-threatening. And what I mean by that is that there should be no ultimatums involved. There should be no communication about what happens if they do not listen to you or the way you intend for them to listen, because that does not work in real life settings. repeat and clarify. As much as you hear, we must repeat what the person in front of us has told us and try to clarify whether this is what they meant. So I think Naveen, I think, gave us an example of how to talk to our sometimes patients or patients' families because they are already overwhelmed or in a highly tensed situation. So that is a point where if there is a slight gap in communication, the situation might escalate. Therefore, it is very, very important that we listen, we register, we repeat what the person in front of us has told and clarify the same with them. So as we both know that we are on the same page and there are no assumptions. Having assumptions might prove to be really fatal in our line of work. And our body language per se, because we said that effective communication is 55% of body language. So our body language should always be open. It should be welcoming and inviting, as well as it should show that we know our own ground and we're assertive about it.
Thanks, Bhumika. Do you have any questions, comments, or anything that is coming to your mind? Nitya, you can go to the next slide, please. I would request the participants to share and yeah, and also, going back to the question that Naveen had asked, that, sometimes it is very difficult, when it comes to patients, how to, address their queries on and their emotions. So, one of the things is, that is very important in the communication is basically body language and our tone. We cannot, we cannot attend to every single request. There are certain limitations, there are certain things that we have to keep in mind, but these kind of techniques actually help the other person to understand when we are trying to communicate our point of view. Here body language actually plays a very critical role. And I would also like to hear from you that do you have any experience or any thoughts that you want to share, or any instance that you would like to share where these kind of tips or techniques have already been followed by you and you have been able to see some positive results, or any other challenges also that you have come across? Please do share with us.
I think Jyotsna Hospital, your hands are raised. Would you like to talk?
Sorry. I think I forgot to lower the hand. I'm sorry.
Okay. Anybody else has any comments? Would like to add any points?
So shall we move on then?
I think we can move on, but on body language, I would especially. Okay, Nitya, go ahead. Yeah. Go ahead, Nitya.
Thank you. So you're looking at the slides. We're talking about facial expressions, voice modulation, physical contact, eye contact. So these all look very technical, but it is as simple as that. So when when newlywed husband and wife are sitting outside, the husband says your face will not get impressed, but if he looks at her in her eyes and says your face is as good as a moon, only then maybe she will get excited about what her husband is saying. So body language actually makes a lot of difference when you have the eye contact, the facial expressions. When when a senior doctor comes and the nurse is standing there, she's in a panic, you can see her sweating. She will forget half the things what she wanted to talk. So it is very important that I have to show confidence in my face, and when I speak to the doctor, I have to speak in a very confident voice that yes sir, I have completed all the records and I've kept it ready for your review. So rather than struggling, sir, it really makes the person's morality, or maybe the
Nitya, we're not able to hear you. Your bandwidth is probably low.
tone and voice. Okay, maybe I can stop my video so that you all can, because I'm sharing the screen simultaneously. Maybe it's not taking the bandwidth.
Yes, that's right.
Am I better, Bhumika?
Yes, right now it's fine.
Okay, so it actually matters a lot to maintain eye contact, your facial expressions, tone and voice modulation. Like I was telling, there is a tiger coming. So you should say the tiger is here. So it also matters a lot what kind of voice we use, the tone we use, what kind of context it is, and to your body language. And also the physical contact and proximity, the distance you maintain between two people, standing too close may be uncomfortable, maintaining a little bit of distance and talking to each other would be more comfortable. So these are some of the tips which you all would have heard about, and you already know all these things. We are just trying to brush it up so that next time when you get back to work, you would think that, yeah, we have to talk about, we have to think about the facial expressions, the body language, the eye contact with my patients would actually improve my collaboration with the patients and all that. So I would like to pause here. If you have any questions, any kind of experience, if you would like to share, you can.
Yeah, thanks, Nitya. And also, since Bhargavi and Aparna also mentioned that these kind of training programs that you are conducting already in your workplaces, it is very important that we also follow these adult learning principles, because all the people who we are working with are well qualified adults with a lot of experience and expertise. So there are a lot of things that we are discussing in this session or is generally covered in the life skills session. Nobody is, unfamiliar with them. Everybody knows these principles, these concepts, but when it comes to practice, there are challenges. So we need to also respect, these principles in mind, that all we are working with are adults. They have their strengths, they have their weaknesses, they have certain medium that they prefer when it comes to learning. Some people actually learn better when they see, when some people actually learn better when they are able to practice, rather than just listening or just writing. So everyone has a different way of learning. So we also need to see, and I think what you mentioned, Bhargavi, that you all are also doing these role plays where people are able to just do some demos, they are able to enact, they are able to understand the emotions and what happens, and how they can maybe communicate or act differently in a more effective way. There are also other ways, as you had asked earlier as well, that what are the other things that can be done. So some people actually might prefer that there are some videos or some more resources that can be provided to them, that they can use probably when they have their free time. Based on their availability and comfort, they can also go through those kind of resources that might also probably help them. uh, do you have any questions, comments, or anything that you want to share with the session so far? Are you all with us? Because some of you have been actively interacting and some of you are probably listening, I'm hoping. Do you have any comments, thoughts so far, or anything that you would like to share?
I have I have one point.
Yes, please.
I think I think all of us feel or know about body language, but at the same time, we know the difficulties faced by the healthcare providers in the profession. Having said that, they might not have enough time or reflection to sometimes think about actively doing these things. For example, we know that a genuine smile and eye contact can help. It conveys honesty. It conveys openness. It gives the other person a sense of confidence. But at the same time, sometimes when we are so overworked and we have a lot of time, we might not have that conscious reflection that we need to be in a certain way, or our body language needs to be a lot more open. Like, for example, crossed hands is known to be considered a barrier when it comes to communication. And people are advised to have like open arms when they're especially meeting patients, and that brings us to empathy as well, you know. So what do we do in such situations sometimes when we don't have enough time to reflect on body language?
Yeah, any comments, questions from the participants? I would actually like to go back to Naveen. Naveen, do you think your question has been answered that you asked in the beginning?
Shauli has a comment.
Shauli has a comment. Yes, Shauli.
If Naveen doesn't, then I'll go next.
Yeah, sure. Naveen, would you like to unmute and speak? Okay, we'll wait for Naveen. Maybe he will.
Shauli, you can go ahead.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Shauli?
Yes, Shauli.
Okay. No, thought somebody said Madhavi can go. No, I think it's very interesting, and in our workplaces, because we are talking about actually communication at workplace, very frankly speaking, where we are interacting with different types of people, be it our colleagues, our boss or supervisor, or our clients. And every time every situation is different, where we have to gauge a situation and then speak, and we call that generally as communication dynamics, or dynamics of communication. It is based on also the relationship between the two individuals who are interacting. Generally there is a sender and a receiver in that. I was listening to the communication, the body language, and what Bhumika said. And, this folding of hands are actually is a very Eastern tradition, where we don't feel that, it is a very close body language. So I think in these kind of cases where people are very comfortable still folding their hands, I think it should be the choice of word, the eye contact, the way we are posturing and gesturing sometimes. I think that kind of makes a lot of difference. I think seeing is always very, very, important. And, after seeing is listening, hearing what we hear. I think these two are very, very critical points when we talk about, like, interactive communication, not, just reading or listening to something. I'll stop here. I just wanted to add that part.
Thank you, Shauli. That is a good comment. Thank you. I have a question for everybody present in this call. And Dr. Devakar, if you please feel free to respond if you want to. I think my question is that in this, sometimes in this setup, in a clinic or in a nursing home or in a hospital, facial expressions are very important, right? So sometimes when we see, for example, see pain, or like a very difficult accident or a very serious accident, I think our facial expressions are not neutral at all times. So how important do you think facial expression is in our communication, and how much of it is okay to control, and how much of it is not okay to control? Does anybody have any comments? Dr. Divakar, all attendees. Jyotsna Hospital, did you have a comment?
No, I'm sorry. No.
Okay. Okay. I think maybe we can come back to it.
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah. So, similar to what Bhumika had asked, we actually had a lot of similar questions where we wanted to understand that if you have already been using such some of the principles of effective communication in some of these scenarios, what would be your approach? So, Nitya, if you go to the next slide, please. And we also wanted to discuss a little more on what actually Aparna had initiated the conversation around that how we actually ensure that to the other person that we actually understand, or what are the things that we can use to ensure that the person doesn't get discouraged to share their concerns or challenges or issues. And we actually started to talk about empathy. So before we get into the whole hog discussion around empathy, we wanted to understand from you what is your understanding about empathy. What do you think empathy is? If anybody from the participants would like to share, uh, it can be your own understanding or definition of empathy. We don't want a technical one. Anything that you feel what empathy is about. I know it gets very you know if I can use that word, boring after a point of time, because these kind of sessions are they have their own limitations. But we have a few more minutes to go, and we want to utilize this platform as much as possible. So if you have any thoughts or anything that we want to if you would like to share, after that we have an interesting activity that we hope you all will actually enjoy. But if you, before that activity, if you can just share what you feel, what according to you empathy is, and then we can get straight into the activity. Anybody? Or we can just dive right into the activity. Okay, I think Nitya, we can start. We also need to keep a check on time.
Yes.
Nitya, request you to.
Okay. So we are talking about empathy. So we call it Anubhuti in Kannada. Sympathy andre Sahanubhuti. Empathy andre Anubhuti. So ಇದ್ರ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ನಾವು ಮಾತಾಡ್ತಿದ್ದೀವಿ. So to understand more, so ಈಗ ನಾವು ಒಂದು activity ಮಾಡೋಣ. So we will be doing an activity now. I request all of you to close your eyes and just listen to me and follow what I am saying. Okay, there is a hand raised. Can we address it before we go next?
Yes.
Yes.
That's Jyotsna Hospital, and I think
yeah. Is it by mistake?
Yeah,
let's clarify.
Yeah, I think you can go ahead, Nitya.
Okay. So we all will do a small activity. I hope you all will follow English. I will also mix Kannada in between so that you can easily connect to the activity, and you will be able to experience.
Madam, ಅವರು ಕರೆಕ್ಟ್ ಆಗಿ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ. ನಂದೇ ಒಪಿನಿಯನ್ ಇಲ್ಲ, ಬೇರೆ ಉರ್ದು ಎಲ್ಲರ ಒಪಿನಿಯನ್.
Okay.
Is that anybody speaking, or was it like by mistake?
I think it was by mistake. I just put the person on mute. Okay. So let us continue. So what we do now is, I want all of you to close your eyes and The more you follow, the more you will be able to feel empathy in your, in self, within you. So I request all of you to close your eyes for a while. Imagine you have been given a kitty, a small bag. In the bag, you can put 3 things. First thing is your favorite place, your very, very favorite place on earth. It can be your hometown, house, it can be the beach, it can be the bus stop where you met your friend, any place on earth. Imagine the place. Imagine as if you are there now, right now. You're sitting in that place, you're standing in that place, you're feeling the place. Right now, that particular place is in your kitty. It's in your bag right now. The second one is your favorite thing. It can be anything. It can be a watch which your brother gifted you. It can be the flower which your friend had given you and you have kept it safely in a book. It can be anything. A thing which is very close to your heart, which you can imagine right now. You may have it with you right now. Put it in the bag. Just feel that thing. The third one is the person, the individual whom you like the most, you trust the most, whom you look up to. It can be your mother, father, friend, your godfather, anybody. All the 3 of them are in your bag right now. 3 important aspects of your life. Imagine suddenly there is a tornado and there is huge panic, and in the confusion, you lose one of the item in your kitty. How do you feel? It can be the favorite wristwatch which the brother had gifted. You lost it in the tornado. You can't feel it on your wrist anymore. Imagine how difficult it will be. It can be even your favorite place which got washed away in the tornado. Now let's try to reverse the situation. The tornado has rolled back. You have all the 3 favorite aspects of your life back in your kitty. Everything is fine. You have your favorite thing, your favorite place is safe, and the favorite person is there very much with you. So what is the feeling? You really feel relaxed, calm, safe, and happy. So the way I feel the favorite places, people, things which are very close to my heart, which are very important to me, in the same way, the other person whom I meet regularly, it can be my colleague, my family member, somebody in the society or a community whom I interact with regularly, everybody has their own priorities, challenges, and happiness in their life. It's not only me, everybody have their own way of prioritizing things, people, places in their life. They have their own goals. They have their own ambitions and aspirations in life. I would also request you to reflect upon others whom you communicate regularly they would also have something similar to what you just experienced. They would also have some priorities, some something which is very favorite to them, which they really want to safeguard and take care of. Please reflect about it for your friends, colleagues, and family members. You may slowly open your eyes. Thank you everybody for participating in this exercise. This exercise will really make you and help you understand what is empathy. I hope I did not hurt anybody's sentiments during the process of this exercise. It was purely to bring in and make you all understand that all of us have priorities, favorites, goals, and aspirations in life, and so do others. If anybody would like to share your immediate feelings after this exercise, please do share. Please, if you want to talk about it, you can raise your hand. If you want to share it through message, you can put it in the chat box, or you want to talk about it, please let us know.
Thank you, Nitya. Does anyone want to share anything, any comments, any thoughts? We are not able to see you, so that is actually a big bummer. But if you can just speak, unmute yourself and speak, that will really help us to navigate this process better.
Okay, so there is a lot of silence, Priya. I think people are still, overwhelmed with their priorities in life. We were just trying to bring back their memories. Some of them would have been still there in their favorite place, still thinking about the favorite person in their life.
No, actually, she didn't told to open the eyes, keep closing and sitting.
Oh. Please open your eyes, madam. Please come back to the session. Thank you all for deep diving in the reflection and the activity. Really, thank you. Please open your eyes.
And thank you so much, Kavita and Shauli, for sharing, your thoughts. And it's really we are really glad to know that it actually helped you a little to clear your mind and just reflect on the things that really mean to you. And we hope this process, will help you to also reflect on, feelings and emotions that are there, with others. And basically there is no right or wrong way or a proper way to actually show how you empathize with others. It is all very subjective, but it is basically to to be able to mirror how the other person is feeling. And it basically helps us to connect with others. And It's actually something that the people who work with the individuals, the human beings, it is very important for us to have this particular attribute. I don't think it is a skill, it is basically an attribute which is actually something that we all expect from others. So on that note, and I'm very happy that at least some of us are actively sharing our thoughts, and I would really request others, if anything is coming to your mind, it can be a simple thing that you might feel that it is not related to the session, but if that is coming to your mind, please don't hesitate to share with us. Everything is very important uh, to us to to be able to share. So on that note, there I think just being mindful about the time, we will skip these. There are certain scenarios that we had, we wanted to discuss with you and just understand how you will be dealing in these kind of situations. But just in the interest of time, we'll skip it for now. But we will be sharing it with you. This deck will be shared. So you might want to, just go back and refer to this later whenever you get time. And if you have any questions, please do not share to hesitate, do not hesitate to share it with us for any further support. So coming back to the communication style, so we'll just quickly go through this. So these are basically certain communication styles, which generally are categorized under, four, headings. One is assertive communication, which is basically where I also care about what I feel, what I want to do, and also care about what the other person is wanting to do, or is feeling, or what is their priority. The other one is basically passive aggressive, where we feel that what we are thinking is the most important, is the right thing, and we don't generally take others perspective into our account. And in that case, basically we can discuss it maybe a little more, but in the interest of time, we might not be able to do it, but just reflect on this. So in this situation, basically we see that when somebody is feeling that the person is right and the other person's feeling or perspective is not taken into account, we generally don't reach to a consensus. There is no proper constructive conclusion to that that instance. And then in passive, the what you were actually sharing in the beginning, where somebody is not able to demonstrate that they actually have a perspective, they are not able to share their own point of view. So that is where that person is not able to communicate effectively, and the other person never gets to know what exactly was the point of view of the other person. Aggressive is basically when both the sides, or one side just thinks about themselves, and they do not provide that space where the other person can also come in. And usually in high stress environment, these two things are very common: aggressive behavior, aggressive style of communication, and also the passive one, where sometimes some personalities just get close when they are in such kind of stressful environment. So these both the situations are very dangerous. And also the passive aggressive, where you are probably not getting so hyper or aggressive, but your behavior or your attitude actually indicates that you only care about your own perspective, and you would not like to take others feeling or perspective into account. What generally helps is the assertive communication, where you also try to understand the other point of view, and you strongly also position your stance, and then mutually reach to a conclusion and take further action. So this is basically, in this kind of communication style, basically there is a win-win situation for both the parties, senders and receivers, and whoever is involved in that particular. Okay, so if you have any question on this particular, this is basically looking very theoretical, but when we look around us, we can see these personalities, very easily. We can actually identify, and sometimes one person actually also can, demonstrate each of these personalities, during different situations. So yeah, if you have any questions, please do ask. We have kept actually dedicated 20 minutes towards the end of the session, but do not, please feel free to just ask your questions right away. If you have any thoughts, comments, not just questions, please do.
I think Jaya Priya has raised her hand. If you have a question, please unmute yourself.
Hi, ma'am. Hi. Ma'am, can you hear me?
There's a slight echo, but we can hear you.
Yeah, sure. Thing is like, in the slide, there is one part called as aggressive. I care about myself, I don't care about you. So if this sort of a behavior, if one of our ward in charge, a nursing in charge has, that might affect the ward itself. So that sort of in charge, how can we handle it? Because the position of hers is very important and we cannot lose her. And this sort of behavior also really, it's a very harm for the ward and in the hospital. So as the managers or the other administrative part, I mean the administrative persons, how can we handle the situation?
I can come in if you want, Priya.
Yes, Shalini.
Yeah. So thanks, Jaya, for bringing this up. In fact, I was wondering that someone should give a situation. I see aggressive behavior is one of the styles of communication, and many who adopt it think that this is an effective style through which you can get your work done or your purpose solved. In situations where it's a workplace situation, if one person is being aggressive, it is best to respond to that person in a very assertive manner and calm down the situation instead of reacting and responding in similar style. If aggression meets aggression, then the purpose is not solved. However, if it is and I would have loved to show you this picture of three types of supervisor or administrator. One being very angry, one being very submissive, the other being very confident, quite happy at the same time, not showing like having a balanced emotion. It takes time to realize, that which one style I am right now in, and which style is the most effective. So that question should be reflected with this person in question, that which style is actually most effective. And the answer, Josna, what would be your answer? What will you choose as the most effective style of communication among all these four? Can you answer that?
Definitely assertive.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Yes, it is
So,
assertive.
absolutely.
I would rather say like, okay, the example that Jaya quoted, like, see, what we can probably do is like, I can only speak in the hospital language. The in charge can be allowed to explore herself what she's winning about being aggressive. She's definitely not going to gain anything out of it.
Correct.
If
Correct.
she is caring about herself and she doesn't care about anyone else, it's just not going to take her even one step above.
Correct.
It clearly says it's not a, she's going to lose. Definitely she's going to lose.
Yeah. So in case of such, if I have it in me or in my team, I would rather take that person offline and say that what's bothering, why you were so emotional. Is it a natural issue that you need to correct? Or is it a phase or situation in your life you're going through? So probably that person needs counseling. However, if not, that person probably needs a good talk to understand that, it's like showing the mirror by saying that, hey, listen, this is not working out. This will not solve any purpose. You are going to just lose out in this long run, right? But and I have seen this time and again doing training where most of the supervisors or administrators have actually put their hands up, and said that, yes, we do adopt aggressive style because when we are under high pressure, we think that is the only style which will lead to address situations and deadlines, right? But I think over the course of time, when we go through this kind of life skill programs, it reinforces our belief in assertiveness more than aggression. Yes, there are situations where aggression actually works. Now, if you are a woman in a in a busy bus and somebody is trying to misbehave with you, I think the first thing would be probably not assertiveness or passiveness. It may be aggression. And you cannot, it's a very reactionary emotional behavior. So that would be then for the other co-passengers to make sure that, it gets into a purposeful, assertive, safe behavior, right? So that is what I'll say. I'll stop here if anybody wants to add or share more.
Exactly.
Yeah, thanks.
It has to be just one-on-one counseling, saying like you being aggressive, and it's definitely not going to help you. My will not take you anywhere. That's definitely not going to help that person. So we just have to throw some light and put some sense in them and say like aggressive behavior, you will be the same place where you are.
Exactly. And also you can share best practices, good practices. There should be a role model around us. And we should encourage those role models to actually talk. It's like a peer-to-peer more, leadership or influencing. I think that I will definitely encourage you to adopt.
Yeah. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Jaya, and thank you, Shauli. Just to add one more thing here, one is that we need to be definitely talking to, working with this person. But at the same time, coming back to what the problem was earlier, that sometimes, some people have the courage to, just say and talk and, provide that kind of support and, throw some light, to the behaviors of how people have been, acting, but also with the others when these kind of induction programs or training programs are being conducted, the rules and the rules and etiquettes of workplace can also be covered for everyone, and also the people who are joining new or maybe at are at a lower level in the hierarchy, they should also be empowered that you should not be okay with this kind of behavior. If there is anything that you are facing or coming across, please do share it with the person first and also bring it to the notice of authorities so that these kind of behaviors can be discouraged and proper if it is required, then proper measures can be taken. So just wanted to add that point. But if you have any other questions, anybody else, please do share your questions, thoughts, comments. So far, you have any? Are there any other hands that have been raised, Bhumika?
No, Priya.
Okay, Nitya, can we go to the next slide, please? Yeah, I think we can skip this one just in the interest of time. Yeah, Bhumika, over to you.
We are coming towards the end of our session. So therefore, I think just to summarize, these are just some pointers that if not anything, you might remember this moving forward, is one part of effective communication is to always listen and ask questions. We need to maintain eye contact, a constant eye contact, and being on the service provider side, we need to be empathetic as well as provide encouragement in forms of remarks such as, I understand what you're saying. Okay, I hear you. I listen to you. I'm listening. It's clear. I'm clear on what you're saying. So that the person in front of you feels understood and heard, and that will enable them to answer or respond to you in a more effective and an efficient manner. Next slide, Nitya. The second is a situation which most healthcare providers very often come across, and if not handled in a very timely manner, it might escalate into a high stress situation. So if you approach a patient or a customer or anybody who is distressed and angry, if you raise your voice or if you have like a forceful dominant tone with them, there is a risk that that person or that group's distress and anger will increase. However, if you approach the situation with a gentle, caring, empathetic tone or voice, most probably it will help to calm and diffuse the situation. Having said that, it might not be same in every situation, but usually when someone is really frustrated or really distressed or is emotionally heightened, it always makes sense to approach them, as we said, being assertive, but in a very gentle and a calm tone, which sometimes helps de-escalate their emotional um, stability. Uh, I think this is one point that's valid for all of us. I think whenever we are interacting or engaging with another patient or another person, but especially patients, we should not be taking calls. However, if it's a very important call, then it's a good idea that, out of respect to the person in front of us, time and space, to let them know that, that you might have an interaction and you might need to take an urgent call, and apologize in advance if it happens. Just let them know that you are going to take a call and you'll be back with them as soon as you can. Next slide. Another important aspect of communicating with others and patients is that when we ask them questions, because given our position, we sometimes might need to ask extremely sensitive questions, and we should have a sense of time and place while we do it, because questions of a very personal nature should not be asked in open, or if there are other patients or other people in the same room. It is always advised to take them to a place which is quiet, which has privacy, which might have a screen, and then ask them questions, such as their HIV status or pregnancy, for example. These questions are extremely sensitive and therefore need to be handled in a certain manner. Next question. Sorry, next slide. Uh, and next slide. Sorry, I didn't see the slide which I was looking for, but I think one thing that I wanted to say was that there's another one point for an effective communication, and that is that when we are communicating with someone and when we are asking questions, particularly to patients, I think it's very important to ask open-ended questions. For example, if we want to know about a person's sexual history, for example, or whether they practice safe sex, we cannot ask them, "Do you practice safe sex?" Because the answer might just be yes or no. We need to probe in a manner in which they will want to answer and give us the answers that we need. So one example of the way we might ask that question is, so a closed-ended question would be, "Do you practice safe sex?" And an open-ended question would be, "Tell me how you practice safe sex." Yeah. Yeah, Priya, I think that's it from my side.
Yeah, and just adding to this point, one is that how you are communicating with the patients, but also, if we want to have effective communication among our peers or in our personal lives, these techniques or tips are equally, useful. For example, this open-ended question: if somebody if you want somebody to communicate freely to you, then it will always be helpful if you ask them an open-ended question rather than just asking, how are you doing? Fine. Then everyone will say, yeah, yes or no. But if you really want to understand how the other person is feeling, that always the good question is, how are you feeling? So just and as an example, and these kind of techniques always help us to effectively communicate and also express our empathy towards others. The last thing that we wanted to discuss, but before that, I think the question that Shauli has put in the comment box, and you know uh, uh, okay, it was an earlier one. So I also wanted to ask, before we wind up the sessions, because we have kept the topic very general. But as we were talking earlier, and I had highlighted this point, that it is not just about general practices of communication. It is also about what kind of issues or barriers that the women health workers especially how, what are the challenges that they are facing, and how these challenges can be addressed. So if you have any experiences or any thoughts or any questions around it, please do share with us. Although we are really glad that most of the participants who have been actively participating are women. So I would request both female and male participants to ask. But if you have anything in particular, please do share, and do let us know how what kind of challenges you have already observed or experienced, and how you have been addressing or trying to address it through any of the skills. Or Nitya, you can just
Well, I know you have not checked that. Let's check that.
yes. So anybody, any questions, any thoughts, especially on the challenges when it comes to female healthcare providers? I actually have a question, that a particular question that I wanted to discuss, and it is just a case scenario. I think the last one. You can go to the next slide, Nitya. So one, there are different, challenges, and one of the critical challenges which we all know, it has been mentioned in a lot of forums, including the researches which are coming, that one of the critical challenge is basically how the female healthcare practitioners are managing their menstrual health while working in such kind of crisis scenarios, especially when you all have to, a lot of us have to wear personal protective gears, and these are long shifts generally, and a lot of emergency situation is very emergency situations are quite frequent. So how do generally the female healthcare workers communicate or negotiate with their peers or managers to maybe take proper bio breaks, or just go and use loose to change their sanitary napkins, or anything that they want to do, just to ensure that their menstrual hygiene is properly maintained. Nitya, you can unshare your screen, please. Yeah. And in this process, not just women workers, it is we also want to understand how the male peers can support in this process. So if any one of you has any thoughts or any comments on this particular question, please do share. We would love to hear your thoughts. Or alternatively, we can also keep this as something that we can always get back to you when we have our next session, because we know that there is quite a bit that has been discussed, shared today. So maybe if you want, we can park it for another session, and we can and you can always reach out to us. You have an email ID that has been provided to you in the sheet that has been shared. And Bhumika, you can share more details on that, and we can get in touch with the participants later to have any further questions.
Yeah, I'm also going to share the WhatsApp group link here, and if you want to be intimated about the upcoming meetings and share resources that need to be shared, or if there are situations that you would like to discuss with a bigger group, which would have us, I'm gonna add that link here, and if you want, you can join that.
Yeah, and before we wind up the session, we would love to hear your feedback, your thoughts, any questions. Again, if there is anything coming to your mind, and yeah, and I think you are able to see.
If you can see my screen, Priya, I've launched a couple of questions just for polling.
Okay.
If everybody can just participate, there's just 2 questions, should take 2 minutes.
I am not able to provide the response here. I can already see that. Okay, okay, fine. Got it, Bhumika.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we can see the responses already coming.
Yeah. Just a sec.
Okay, as we are getting the responses, Bhumika, would you like to share the details on resources and also the feedback?
So that's why I've added, in the chat, I've added the link to the WhatsApp group, since we don't have all your emails. If you want, you can be added to the group, and we can share the resources within the group for all of you. And these resources would include, tips and pointers on effective communication, more detailed reading material for healthcare providers on effective communication and negotiation. So if you'd like to receive those, please do join the WhatsApp group. We won't spam you. We will take your consent before sharing anything with you.
Yeah, and before we end the session, if anybody would like to share their feedback on the session on how we can improve, or if this session has helped you in any way, we would love to hear from you.
Okay. Okay, I'm ending the polling for the first question, and the results are here. I think compared to the first poll we took regarding effective communication, there's definitely been a twofold increase in the people who now consider their communication to be effective. Hope everybody can see the screen.
Yes.
Okay. Okay. There is a question. Yeah, I think it's from Bhargavi. She says that the session was good and interactive too. Thank you, Bhargavi. I'm going to be sharing a feedback form with you guys. It'll be shared with your emails, the ones that you registered with this in the Zoom call, but I'm also sharing the link. I request you to take 2 minutes of your time and help us improve the sessions for you. And I think one thing we didn't show you guys before was the sessions that we are going to have over the period of 3 months. This was the first one. Priya, can you share your screen on the sessions, or if you can just what the next session is going to be?
Yeah, so the next session is going to be on self-management, and we are yet to get a confirmation on what will be the suitable dates, but that will be in the month of February, towards second week. Yeah, but we'll discuss with Dr. Divakar, and based on everyone's availability, the dates will be confirmed.
Yeah. I'm just sorry. I think I didn't share the WhatsApp link with all the panelists and attendees, so I'm going to do that now.
Bhumika, I want to share a few words.
Yes, Dr. Divakar.
It is an excellent program, and I went through most of it, and it was quite interactive and useful for the mid-level, the administrators and paramedical workers and senior nursing staff and other people. And you can take the numbers of all the people who attended today and
Yes.
do a WhatsApp group on that, and you can share for the next program. It will be better, I think. Otherwise,
Yes,
better
Dr. Divakar.
communication,
I have shared the WhatsApp group link here. So
Okay.
everybody can just click on this link and join on their WhatsApp.
Okay.
Yeah, additionally, I'm just adding my number here. So anybody interested in being part of the group can just directly message me or email me. My email address is also in the chat box, and I will be adding them to the group, and we'll be using that to share more resources with you, more information, and also the details for the next upcoming sessions.
Okay. Okay. Thank
And
you.
we would request everyone who has participated to please spread the learnings to your peers, and please reach out to us if you need any further support. Thank you so much.
Thank you. And just to repeat, the WhatsApp group link is in the chat. So if everybody can just have a look at it, that'd be great. Also, the feedback form is there so that we can better curate content for material for you and for your learnings. And lastly, if I can request everybody to just switch on their videos, everybody that can switch on their videos so that we can just take a picture.
I thank Priyam Madha, Nitya, and Bhumika, and Angela who have joined today. It's a useful program. Thank you, Bhumika.
Thank you, Dr. Divakar. If you want to add anything, if you have any feedback or suggestions for us to improve it, please go ahead. And thank you again for helping us arrange and mentor this session.
Next program also will continue like this, and we'll have add some more participants for the next program, definitely.
Yes. Can everybody just open their videos for one so that we can take a picture? Thank you. Priya, can you take the picture? I'm just trying to bring everyone to the panelists.
Start video.
I'm on it, Bhumika.
Thank you.
Start video, madam.
In the about 10 minutes back, about 30 were there, I think. Some of them might have left, I think, by this time.
Yeah, some might have left, but there are still some people. So if we can just take a picture. Nitya, are you able to take a picture? Can you see all of us?
Yeah.
Okay, so everybody can switch on their video for a minute. I think we can take a picture and then we'll be done. Oh, that is a great picture from Naveen, and there's a lot of people there.
Next time we'll try to have, so that everyone can keep their videos on for maximum amount of time.
Yeah.
Thanks a lot. It's great to see you all.
Thank you.
Thank you everyone for joining. Thank you, Dr. Divakar. Good to see you.
Bye.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.
Sujata sister, you are occupied this room, and I is sitting in that room, and my okay timing is there.
Hi everybody, it was nice. Thank you.
Thank you, Bhargavi.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, madam.
Thank you.
Thank you, Bhumika. Thank you, Nitya.
Thank you. Thank you, Jaya.
Yeah, bye.
Thank
Bye.
you. Bye.
Nitya, you're able to take the picture, no?